Right, we're back on. Done that exhaust. That's on the car. The turbo's bolted up. The downpipe's bolted up. Now we've got to do is the screamer pipe, and we're making this out of this stainless steel tube here. This, I believe, that's 1.5 inch. Pretty sure it's 1.5. Maybe just under. But what we're going to do is, we haven't got any bends, but I need a 90-degree bend, not in Schedule 10 obviously, a 90-degree bend in this with one extension, about 2 inches long. Then we are coming up and out of the bonnet, angled back slightly. So I need to do about 5 pie cuts with 2 ends, 3 intermediate pieces. So we're going to mark up this tube. If you've ever done pie cuts before, you'll kind of know. Get yourself a point on the tube, use a bit of angle, set up against the tube like that, and then that'll give you a nice straight line, centre line on the tube. Mark that up down there. We don't need to go very far. And then what we're going to do is mark up the top, and then some good little bits that I've got. I'll show you, just try and find the right size. 1.5 inch tube. This is basically a clip that will sit on there. See, this is just undersized, but that's good enough for what we want. And then this has markings on it for 0 degrees and 90 and 45. So if we sit this on the 90 there, so we'll put that mark onto the 90, and then we'll spin it around and we'll mark 90 degrees on the other side. Take that off, get a bit of angle again, just rotate it round to the same spot, and then we can run a second line down there, because what we want to do is we'll sit this in our saw, we'll do a cut at, I normally do mine at about 9 degrees, we'll do a cut, and then you turn it over 180, you do another cut, turn it over, forward, next cut, over, forward, next cut, and then you'll end up with your individual pie sections that you need to make up your 90-degree bend. So let's move you back here out of the way a little bit. And we'll start cutting these. What you need to work out when you're doing these cuts also is you can set your angle, and mine is 9 degrees. So if I set that twice, 9 degrees is my angle, and then that'll be good. Remember, this is only a external wastegate pipe, so it doesn't matter how aggressive the angles are. And then what you want to do is you just want to work out how wide your pieces are going to be. Now I want to go a little bit wider than where that is now. I want to go at what roughly works out nice for me on mine. Is setting the overhang up on my pipe to be 45mm. Now that's just how I set it and what works out good for me. Let's turn this on, that would help. I can bring this in a little bit to give it a bit more support. That'll do there nicely. And we'll start making our cuts. What you've got here is you're going to have one straight piece and one longer piece. Now I actually wanted one piece to be an inch on top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this very first one through a bit longer. That way I won't have to have a join at the start. I'll be able to have it too long and cut. Make sure you've got one of your marked lines at the top, which I have, and then let's do our first cut. So there's one, that'll be the start pipe, and then we'll bring our angles up, and then we'll do another end finishing piece at the top. So what you want to do now, here's the bar, you rotate the tube 180 degrees, and then you bring it out to your desired distance to give you the kind of centre line radius of your bend. Like I said, I roughly do it at around 45 millimetres, so that's on the 3-inch, but I'm going to try it on this one as well. And that looks like it will give me a nice cut. So let's cut the second piece. And there we have one piece of the pie, and then that one being the start, that one being the second, then third, fourth, and then we'll be at 90 degrees. So I'll do a few more of them and I'll bring you back and show you when we're done. This is all our pie cut pieces that we're going to fit together. So I'm quickly going to tack these up, and that's the start one. So I'll tack these up quickly and we'll see where we're at. I'm just going to leave this little tiny cup on there for the minute because I'm not fully welded them. Just literally putting a few tacks just to hold them in place. And it did, just about. To see it's starting to come together. Some pie cuts, or as they call it from looking at that, lobster back. So obviously if you do these at smaller angles, or sorry, larger angles, then it will change this sort of centre line radius how you want to do it, but that's enough for me. That is fine. So there we go, that's the sort of angle we're looking at. What I might do is go check this on the car now. If it's not raining, go check this on the car and see where we're at with regards to angles and whether that'll do me to start coming off with the final straight piece, because it's a very short pipe. Let's take it outside and have a look. Right, took this out to the car, and what we're going to do is we're going to weld this up. We've got the purge going on there, only a small purge, and then we'll weld all these 4 joins up, and then I'm also going to weld the flange onto that end, and then when it's in the car I can orientate it how I want. When we do the flange, we'll actually make sure we're clamped onto here to minimise the warping as much as we can, because them stainless flanges are a pain. So no filler rod on this, just pulsed. Got it set on the pulse settings and just back purged as well. So let's go ahead and start doing this. That's one done. 3 more to go, but we need to let that cool down a little bit first. So I'm going to turn that off for a second. No point wasting the gas. We'll let that cool down, and then I'll show you when I've done the other 3. Right, so we've purged that, and you can see there we've welded them 4 pieces together. Again, that was pulse, purged, no filler. Now we're going to use filler and go around and weld this flange on while we've got it clamped to this wastegate and the other part of the V-band, just to try and stop any warpage. It. That's that welded. Not too hot that end. And there you can see, I don't know how good a picture that's going to be, but there's the weld on the flange. I definitely could have got away with a 1mm filler, but I thought I might need 1/6, but I didn't. I'd already started, so I just carried on. There you go, not bad, not perfect, but not a bad looking piece. Now we can go try that on the car, orientate that upwards. I think it sits that way, so this will need to come around about 90 degrees, and then we'll work out what piece we need to exit through the bonnet, and I'll show you. Right, I skipped a bit of the video because the weather was a bit crap and it was raining, windy, sleety, rainy. So I carried on getting this done. Ignore this here, this is the wiring loom in the bag, because once this has been removed, the wiring loom and everything has to sit back in here and the battery has to go back here, because this car's only being used for a mock-up for the engine and set up that this is going into a different shell, or maybe in this car but at a later date. So this is going back to standard once we're done. So here's the turbo and the manifold down there, all nice. Ignore this breather because this is having a billet can cover and that won't be there, so the customer's request was forget that, ignore it as if it wasn't there. And this coil pack, it is very close, and this may be moved over if it's kept, but now the customer decided don't worry about the coil pack because we're going coil on plug, so ignore that. You've also got some things like the brake and clutch lines here, they're reasonably close, especially to the actual downpipe themselves, but don't worry about them, they're being redone in braided lines and will be rerouted to suit. Here's the screamer pipe. Customer wanted it coming straight up and out the bonnet, so we had to cut a slightly ovaled hole there just to get ourselves clear, because we weren't sure to line it up, and there's nothing worse than cutting holes in panels and getting it wrong. Ignore this pipe here, that's for the servo, but again for this mock up and build it had to just be put out of the way. So here's the fit for the screamer. Coming straight out the bonnet. Whether he uses this on road, track, strip, whatever he wants to do with it, that's up to him. He knows the legalities of it coming out the bonnet, and that's what he wanted, and I think it looks pretty cool. So yeah, there you have it. Try and open the bonnet again one-handed. So that's it. That is this job done. Customer will come and have a look at it tonight, check over he's happy with everything, and then we can take this all off and start putting it back to standard for him, and then he can keep this to one side till the rest of the car's ready to be fully converted. Thanks for watching.